Hello, I'm back. Welcome to the student panel. This is Rob again, and you've made it to the final formal session. And in some ways, I think that we've saved the best for last because you guys will now get to hear from what it's like to study in Ottawa at Carleton University from the perspective of actual students. We've assembled a great group of international students with different backgrounds, different programs, all of whom are very much excited to talk to you about their experiences. And after that, we'll have a final question session. But I will now give the opportunity to our students to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Aisha, and I'm a health science student at Carleton. I'm currently in my fourth year, and I'm from Nigeria.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tracy, and I'm also a fourth year student. My program is international business, and I am currently out of exchange. So my program has to do with exchange as well, so I'm done with that as well.
Thank you, Tracy.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. My major is communications and media and I'm in second year.
Thank you, Matthew.
Hello everyone, I'm Alexa. I'm a second year student in a Bachelor of International Business and I'm from Panama.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alexa.
Hello everyone, my name is Prasham. I'm from Dubai, but I'm Indian. And I am currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Computer Science with a concentration in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. And I'm in my third year. Thank you.
Thank you, Prasham. You can book conversations with our ambassadors today and with other students through our website, carleton.ca/international, or you can scan that QR code. Now, though, I'd like to ask our panel some specific questions because I think these will help our guests better understand what it's like to live and study at Carleton. I'd like to begin by hearing from each of you about a personal highlight of your experience at Carleton so far. So think about something, whether it's academic or perhaps extracurricular, but something that's really resonated with you about your experience. Maybe we could start with Aisha for this one.
Yeah, definitely. So in the past year, so I would say from my third year going into my fourth, I've gotten the chance to volunteer at like different places on campus. And I feel like that has been a really interesting experience because it's given me the chance to just kind of explore Carleton more, get to know more about the student body by having like direct one-on-one interaction with students. And it also just gives me the opportunity to kind of give back to the Carleton community. I've been here for 4 years, so it's the least I could do. And yeah, it's just fun overall.
I love what you just said there. Giving back expands, like it gives you something to you and something back to the community as well, which is wonderful. Prasham, what would you say to that? What's been something that's been really special for you?
So for the past 2 years, I've volunteered for fall orientation. So last year I was just a facil, I was just helping out and volunteering. And this year I was a team lead. And during my first year when I came here, it was very scary, obviously, coming from a different country. So Frosh was a very good way to meet basically all the friends I have right now. So me helping out in Frosh was probably like the best way I could ease the transition for newer students, and it just brought me a lot of joy to see everyone bonding together, having fun in the events that we set up for them, and just everyone having a good time basically. So yeah, that's my highlight, I would love to say.
That's really cool. Thank you for that. What about you, Alexa?
So for me, one of my best experiences has been my Chinese course. I was like a beginner in the language. Now I can say I'm like HSK 3 level. It's been 3 courses of like intensive work. But now like I feel like I've achieved my goal of being a little bit fluent and hopefully even more when I go on exchange.
I love it. Learning a new language is amazing. What would you say, Tracy?
So my highlight experience would be my first year orientation mentor position I had. So I had that at the beginning of the semester, and it was amazing because I got to connect with students who were like newly coming to Carleton, needed help like adjusting, and wanted to know how it was like from someone who has already been in that position. And it was just amazing, like guiding them through that process and like having to hold their hand and walk with them in the process as well.
I love that. Guys, you should hear that. So we offer mentorship programs for a number of students coming into the university, international student mentors, transfer mentors, program mentors. So students helping students, it's a big thing at Carleton, and hopefully you can take advantage of that too. Matthew, what would you say?
I would say that I attended a Caribbean sort of student association this semester, and it really helped me grasp a different sort of perspective when it comes to different cultures and everything. So that was a really eye opener to just see, different countries and just how everything is on this side of the world.
That's great. Lots of opportunities to connect with the world for sure. Next question I'd pose to the panel is, when you were thinking about, like when you were sitting in the same seat that our guests are sitting in, just thinking like, it's a big world. Where am I going to study? Should I stay home, go somewhere else? What made you choose Canada and maybe Carleton as well? Maybe we could start with Aisha.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of schools all over the world, and sometimes making that decision can be really daunting. But I feel like you just have to narrow it down to kind of what's really important to you. So when I was making that decision, it was really important for me to be in a place that had community, just because I was moving halfway across the world and I didn't want to be isolated. So I do have some family in Ontario, so that's kind of makes it a little bit easier. And yeah, Carleton just has a really nice way of bringing students together, especially international students. And they try and push that community, and because they understand how hard that transition can be. So that was definitely a big factor for me.
That's great. Thank you. What about you, Prashant?
So for me, picking Canada was not too difficult. For me, I had the choice between either the US or Canada, but at the time, Canada just felt like an easier choice being as an international student because of the things going on at the time. And Canada just seemed very beautiful. I like the nature and being outside a lot. So for me, Carleton just was like it had a sense of community. It has like the beautiful canal and the river right next to us, and the amazing green spaces, which just you can lose hours just walking on. So I feel like Carleton for that reason, along with its very good education system, like along with the green spaces and just how beautiful it was, it just made me made me gravitate towards Carleton.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Alexa? What would you say to that?
Yeah, so for me, I kind of always wanted to study abroad. So when I started my search, I also considered in Canada, probably because it's a big community for international students. But what made me choose Carleton was actually probably the language courses that will be involved in my program, as I think it's a really good thing to being a professional in international business.
Yeah, program. That's an important one for sure. Tracy?
All right. So I went to school in Toronto, so I kind of knew for that aspect. I went to high school there, so I knew like how it was like in Toronto, and I kind of wanted to not move away from that, but try something new and have a new experience. And I found Ottawa to be a really safe environment where I don't have to worry about like a lot of things. So that was like one of my things with it. And then Carleton, I chose it specifically because of like its cultural diversity and just like the opportunities I could have. And not many schools offered international business for like an undergrad. So I was like, oh my goodness, that is amazing. And I had to hop on that. So yeah.
Nice. That makes sense. Matthew, what would you say?
So I started off with my mother and my grandparents all coming from all schooling in Canada, and it was kind of wasn't forced in a bad way, it was forced in a good way for me to approach Canada with education. And then I also did look into it in places like Toronto and Ottawa, and I had another cousin who was schooled in Toronto, and they told me about Toronto and how it's fast, kind of fast paced and everything, and it wasn't really something that I resonate with. So I looked at Ottawa as the other option, and it was kind of more of a place I could just move at my own pace And it was also that Carleton looked more accommodating of everything because it's sort of more of a campus base and it's more enclosed and it's sort of a more community oriented space. So that's why I chose Carleton to come to Canada.
That's great. Thank you very much. The next question I wanted to ask is timely because we're in December now and we're heading into the colder months here. Of course, we have super hot weather in the summer, but it does get colder in the winter. We have students from all over the world, some from very warm places. And I think a concern people have sometimes is how cold does it get and how am I going to survive? So I'd love to know from you guys' perspective how you adjusted to winter in Canada, whether you enjoy it or if you have any advice. And we'll go backwards this time. I'll start with Matthew.
So the first time I lived on campus was a bit easy to do stuff because I could take the tunnels and just maneuver everywhere. But since I moved out, a lot has helped me is about always being warm and layering up. I'd wear I wear a thermal shirt, a shirt, and then a hoodie, and then sometimes a puffer jacket. Or then I wear my pants and then long johns, or then another pair of pants underneath. And what also helped me was that there's also very limited sun, so I started taking some vitamin D supplements because it helps my energy throughout the day. And it's actually a very, 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 very effective supplement that I've been taking. And it's just helping me with the energy throughout the day. That's how I've been adjusting. And also drink a lot of tea. That too.
I love the tea. The layering is great advice, and the tea is nice as well. Prashant, what are your thoughts on the cold weather wintertime?
So obviously I come from a very, very hot country. It gets up to like 50 degrees. So the cold was very daunting at first, but I think ever since I came here, me and my friends actually made a challenge about not using the tunnels in first year. So I had to mostly go walk outside for all the time. So I think the most important thing was getting a good jacket, a good, very good winter jacket. It might be expensive, more than you would want to pay, but it's worth it. Like a good winter jacket can go a long way. And obviously, as Matthew said, layering up tea, very, very good ways to like get through the cold. And just you have everyone else with you as well. Like you're not the only one going through it, and you have everyone else as well. Stick to the tunnels during your first year and during your second year. Just the buses are there's very like good places where it's warm. The bus stops are warm as well. So there's many ways to get through it. It is very difficult at first, but once you get used to it, it's fine.
That's great. You know what they say, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing choices. So invest in a good coat. I'll change the question so we can get through more topics. And the next question I wanted to ask is like the dynamic of Ottawa, the city itself, the campus culture, social events, music festivals, etc. How have you guys found the city and the campus as well? And maybe Alexa, you could share with us what you think about that.
Sure. Okay, so I am a fan of Carleton campus. So I would say you can find everything in there from the residents, but even if you live off campus, there's restaurants, there's like 3 Starbucks if you love coffee or if you want a snack while you're studying. And then for Ottawa as a city, Carleton is actually like a 30-40 minute bus from downtown. And that's where there's Real Center, like a big mall that has also everything you want to look for. And I would say more like an hour bus to other shopping centers. So that's really great. Also, it's really close to Bank Street, which has along the way the Christmas market during this time, a lot of coffee shops, restaurants from a lot of different choices from food of all over the world. So it really has a good position and the campus, and you can find anything you want. As for festivals, I know they're mostly on summer, and I haven't been here on summer, but I know there's just a lot of concerts and festivals of like tulips or just cultural activities. So it's definitely a good destination for students. Also, as there are like 2 universities here, like in this area, um, a lot of students live here, so you'll definitely find more people with the same experience as you.
That's great. Thank you so much. What about you, Tracy? What would you say to this one?
I would say like even on campus or just in school, there are a lot of activities to do in school. So then sometimes clubs can have like events like just like little group events that you can just visit and be a part of. Also, Carleton has games with U Ottawa that is like one of our other schools in Ottawa. So you can also go to that as well as like Panda, the hockey games, basketball games. You can always visit that. And also, like during the summer as well, as Alexa said, there are a lot of festivals. And for like cultural festivals that I have been to, is like Afrofest. So then with that, you get to experience the culture of like many diverse backgrounds. And um, it just like it's a whole big community, and I just love it for that. And even in the winter, like as Alyssa said, we have like the Christmas market lights, so then you can see that, and it just makes it feel like home and makes it feel like welcoming and not like something too hard or lonely during each season we're going through. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much. Aisha, what are your thoughts on the campus and the city as a whole?
Yeah, I think Alexa and Tracy pretty much covered everything. One thing I would say is Carleton's campus, it really makes you feel like you're in school because everything is all in one place, right? So, like, you're walking around the same campus to go to all your classes. You don't have to, like, bus 15 minutes, which you'll find in some schools. So, I feel just the sense of that, having that school feeling, it really helps you get in the zone of, okay, like I'm actually in school. And yeah, Ottawa as a city was a really good choice for me because it's not too kind of like crazy, but it's not like dead boring. So, you kind of have that really good balance and you're able to, if you want to explore the more like busy life, you can definitely go downtown and do all the activities that were mentioned. But if you want to kind of keep to yourself, you can also do that. And yeah, I feel like the balance is just really good.
I love that. Kind of like the Goldilocks, right size with enough things to do, and you can find something that fits with you. I wanted to ask the panel, like each of you guys, about your living experience. So some of you have lived on campus, some of you have lived on campus and then off campus, or maybe just off campus. What was that process like, living on campus or finding an apartment? Maybe Prasham, you can start us with this one.
Yes, I can definitely do that. So during my first year, I lived on campus in a residence building called Glengarry, and it was probably the worst out of the residence buildings, but it was still very, very good compared to other residence buildings you could get in other universities. The only bad part about it was the communal washrooms, but other than that, it felt like a home, in Glengarry. It felt like a community. Everyone was like in it together, and like the lounges were always filled, the study lounges were also always filled, and everyone was just hanging out and random events along with our residence fellows who are part of that floor. They do multiple events like once or twice like a month, and then everyone just comes together and does something like painting or anything. And then during my second and third year, I moved out and I live off campus. Uh, and it's only a 10-minute walk away from Carleton residence. So it's very, very good. I don't have to really go through the whole bus hassle, and I can just walk to campus whenever I want. But finding a house here, it wasn't too difficult at the time. I did that during my winter semester for first year, and finding a house wasn't too difficult, and it was pretty good. Moving in, everything was easy, and living off campus is very, very good. You get your own space and sense of privacy.
That's great. I love that. So, like first year, good sense of community living on campus, different living experiences on campus. We have a brand new residence opening in September. I think we're all really excited to see that. It's going to be beautiful. Matthew, what about you? Did you live on campus? And if so, how was it? And any other thoughts on that?
So I did in the beginning. I finally moved off campus this year. It was actually very interesting. It's never gonna ever be a dull moment for you living on campus. Since it's kind of more of a very compact residence is, so you're always going to run into someone that you want to meet, someone new, someone you have a conversation with. And it's even in the middle of the night, if you're, let's say you're not feeling, you have insomnia and just want to go for a walk, usually people congregate in the residence commons where we just always meet up with everyone and just spark conversation, talks to them, everything. So then this summer, transitioning off campus, I was practically homeless in July and everything because I couldn't find anywhere else to stay. It was either expensive or it was too far. And then I got blessed with finding somewhere that's very convenient with everything I have. And the transition has been very smooth and I'm not complaining, but I have to, during the winter, it may be a bit more different. As of now, everything is very
That's great. Thank you. What about you, Tracy? Did you live on campus and how was the experience?
Yes, I did live on campus and I still live on campus. You can see I'm obsessed with campus. I went on exchange in my third, as I said in the beginning. So with that, Carleton kind of guided and helped me with that process. But with the first, second, and fourth year, it's been an amazing experience. And as a Ghanaian student, like I always wanted to have that kind of community around me, and I found that and more while living on campus. So that has been a good experience for me. I did live off campus during the summer one time, and I can say that the search is kind of tedious, but once you know what you're looking for and the price range you're kind of looking at, it's just like a breeze-ish. So yeah, that has been my experience, and it was and still is amazing. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you. For the sake of covering more topics, I'm going to change the question for you, Alexa. And I wondered if you could talk about the experience of coming to another country like Canada and studying at Carleton. Like, how was that transition and how quickly did it take for you to acclimatize and feel at home?
Yes, so okay, I gotta admit that at first I felt a little bit alone when I just arrived in Canada because I don't have any family here in the city. But since the day one, I decided to just go out there and make friends, find other international students or people that could speak Spanish with me because I kind of missed that the availability to speak Spanish with people. So I did, and I have to say that then I started conversations with a lot of people. I tried to join clubs. I also just in the cafe I talked to one, and then I made it. I would say a big group of friends. Also with my classes after, and apart from that, probably there was a cultural shock in, like I said, finding more Latin American culture and um, like finding that a little bit of the feeling of um, feeling at home. But it was just a thing of time because now I feel like at home again. And yeah, it's just a thing of time to get used to it. And it's the whole experience of cultural shock that first you're excited, then you're a little bit down, but then you balance it and you get to live your normal life again.
That's great. I studied abroad too, and I certainly had those experiences where it takes time. You have great days and challenging days, but I do think the more you put yourself out there and the more friends you make, the easier that transition would be for sure. What about you, Aisha? Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think Alexa pretty much covered it, but I would just say moving to another country is definitely not easy. So my number one advice is always just to like give yourself grace. It's super easy to want to come here and immediately think everything is going to fall into place and like you're going to fit in right away. But 9 times out of 10 that doesn't happen and it can be like a bit hard, but again, you just have to it's a learning process, so you just have to give yourself time to learn.
I love that. That's good advice, and I think everyone would value that. In the spirit of advice and with an eye on the clock, I do think we probably have time for just one last question. And this is an open one. Again, putting yourself in the position of everybody that's in the audience today who are contemplating this really big and important decision, what advice would you have to share with them? What would you say? Tracy, if you could start us off with this one.
I would say to use a lot of If you're thinking about coming to Carleton or coming to Ottawa, I do think it's a good idea and it's a good choice because when I was coming as well, or when I was making the decision, I was really scared. I was like, oh my goodness, am I making the right choice? Like, what if everything doesn't fall in line and everything doesn't fall in place? But I'm a living testament of showing that like it did happen and it did work out really good. And I found that community and I found like everything I was kind of looking for and more in the school, and also to also take advantage of like clubs. And Carlton has a lot of facilities that help you with every and anything you're going through. For an example, like the advising team, they're just amazing, and they've helped me so much in my process. So any questions at all, you'd always like have someone to be at your back and like help you throughout the entire process. So my advice is to use them and just go with your guts as well. Yeah.
That's great advice. Thank you. Matthew, do you have some advice to share?
Yes, I do. One thing I definitely take into consideration is that you'll never be alone in Carleton. If you do feel like, oh, I'm not making any friends, there's always going to be someone you're able to make a friend with. You also have a very good gym community if you want to go there. Everyone's friendly. They're always going to be helpful and supportful with everything. We also have a very good, if you're into football, soccer, um, we have a very, very big community where it comes to playing tournaments or intramurals or whether it's to be playing for fun each day. There's a lot of us there, we're all friendly and we'll all have a good time and you always get to meet someone new there. That's a very, very good way to always meet someone and just always be friendly. So do feel like if you feel like you're not making enough friends in time or just something isn't going on, you're always gonna be making friends non-stop. And that's also the general uni life. So,
That's excellent advice, and I really agree. I think that's one thing Carleton does well. It's a really caring university, and there's a good sense of community, and that you can find community that works for who you are, whether you're athletic or you're more quiet. There's definitely a crowd. You just have to put yourself out there to find them. So I really, really value that advice. Thank you. Aisha, what advice would you like to offer?
I think kind of just building on what Tracy said, Carleton really does care about its students, and they have resources to help you with any and everything, even if it may not be directly related to school. It may be maybe you're dealing with something in your personal life. They do have a lot of mental health and wellness resources that they really push students to use, because university is hard and it can be very easy to get wrapped up in everything and kind of just forget yourself and neglect your health or your mental health. There's so many other things, so they really push for that, well-rounded university experience. It's not just about the academics, it's not just about the grades. You can spend 4 years and get the best grades and have a horrible time, and nobody wants that. So it's all about just getting that all around great experience, and I feel like they really push that for their students. So that's personally something that really drew me in, because I knew that if I came here, like, even if I don't know anybody in this whole country, like, at least I know I have the university like behind me.
That is phenomenal. I agree with everything that you just said. This is a really special time in your life. As you guys are thinking of starting and thinking 4 years is a really long time, but it goes by pretty fast. And I think the type of foundational experiences that you can have when you are going through that is just something that will just stay with you for your whole life. You'll make really valuable lifelong memories and connections. So really love hearing that. Alexa, what about you? Did you have any advice you wanted to offer?
Of course, yeah. I would advise everyone to, when you come here as a first year and as you might not know anyone else in the city or the university, talk to everyone. Like, start conversations. If even if you think like, oh, probably they won't answer, or probably we don't have anything in common, just start it, because that's how you make friends. Um, Also, yeah, I would say Carleton has everything to help in the experience. And I think something that no one has covered yet, maybe because it's not part of the questions, but also the scholarships and everything that can be like awarded if you're an involved student, not only in your academics, but also in clubs or extracurriculars. you can definitely get benefits from a lot of parts of the university, not only economically, but also like friendships or job opportunities like we are here. So yeah, just take advantage of all the resources Carleton offers and talk to people to grow your network.
So true and very good advice. Thank you. And Prashant, you're the last person to speak on this panel. What advice would you like to offer to our guests?
So everyone here has already said almost every point I would like to cover, but as my advice would be, just enjoy yourself. This is gonna be maybe 4 or 5, could be 6. Who knows how long your degree is gonna be? That many years of your time taken off, and you have so many people around you. Just make sure you're having a good time, even if it may be difficult at times. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Uni can be tough, challenging. The assignments, all the exams, the midterms, they can all get on top of everything and just make it a lot more difficult to go through it. But make sure you have a smile on your face at the end of it. And you're with your friends, you're just having a good time, because these 4 years are going to mean everything to you. You're going to look back on this. You got to make memories that you're going to take with you forever. You're going to make probably friends that you're going to keep with you forever. So make sure you have a good time, and just after you're done, you can look back at it and think about how you didn't regret anything. So make good use of everything you have here, all the societies, all the clubs, all the educational support systems, everything.
That's a wonderful thing to close with, Prashant. I think I echo everything you said and everything everybody said so far today. Thank you all so much for taking time to share your own experiences and journey with all of our guests. I think we all benefited from that hugely. Thank you. And also thank you to everybody that joined in today. We hope you found these sessions to be valuable. This concludes the formal presentations, but it doesn't conclude the event. You still have an opportunity to speak with us. Once we close this session, you will be invited to come to our student lounge, where you'll find themed tables. You can join a table and ask a question related to that or anything else. Feel free to type it in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute and speak the question, or you can even go with the video and engage with us that way as well. However you choose to engage, or if you choose to engage, we look forward to talking to you further beyond today. Thank you all so very much.